Hey y'all, it's Lex and welcome back to my channel for part 2 of my work from home office makeover. If you haven't seen part 1, I will link it up here in the cards for you. Want to check that out. We did so much in part 1. The install of this awesome DIY shiplap wall, some painted feature walls, and a few other desk designs. We also tackled this DIY acrylic dry erase board, so make sure you check out part 1. But for part 2 today, let's just jump right into it. So this is our project to-do list and kind of our task list. We've already tackled the first 2 projects and what's left now is the DIY pegboard. But before we get there, I want to tackle a few other things in the room. I've had this cube storage set for years now. It's still holding strong and I definitely want to use it or repurpose it in this space for holding my desk supplies. So I'm just tightening this up and then setting it right back in place where it originally was. Once it's back in place, I'm going to start playing around with the storage for this actual set. I've never used cube storage boxes, but I feel like it's probably time. And it keeps things looking tidier. So I'm just playing with the design of things. I'm going to add a few things on there, kind of see what's functional for me. And I'm sure that this will change more, but this looks all right for now. Now that the cube storage set is in place, I want to go ahead and install these curtains. You might have gotten a sneak peek of them from that prior scene, but I've gotten these mustard blackout curtains from Amazon. I will have everything linked down below. This is an old curtain rod from my last apartment, and I just spray painted it black and popped it up here on the wall. Now I forgot I got these oversized because I really wanted that draping look on the floor, so I needed to move the rod up on the wall, but it looked so awesome when it was done. Now I'm just adding those finishing touches, black base plates, door stops, doorknobs, those things that really bring the space together, and you guys know I'm all about the matte black right now. And rug tape for me is a must even on carpet. Now let's jump into a quick design DIY. I've had this old mirror for years now. There's nothing wrong with it. It just hasn't matched my aesthetic. So I'm going to paint it so it better matches this room and hang it on the wall. So I kind of have a space to like check and make sure I look okay before I get on Zoom or Teams or whatever. Now I added a little bit of yellow to this chalk paint, and when I hung it up on the wall, it wasn't sitting right with my spirit. It just didn't look, it looked dingy. So I went back in after I looked at it and I painted it white, just plain white, plaster white, chalk paint. It looked so much better to me, and I really love the idea of having a place where I can stop, check myself out on my way out, check myself out on my way to the computer. It just fits in that space. And say hi to husband, y'all. Everything's coming along really nicely, but I do have a few things left to work on. Finishing this area, which will have craft supplies in it, the pegboard, which will be beside it, and just a few other small details. I'm kind of like pulling out and organizing the craft supplies that I use the most so that they can go out on the pegboard or into the cube storage sets. I've already gotten some black cube storage boxes that I can also use in addition to what's up there. So I'm going to work on putting that up now and then figuring out what I want my pegboard design to look like. Now let's get into this pegboard, y'all. So I'm taking some leftover plywood from construction in our area. I was trying to keep this on a budget as much as possible. This is not ideal plywood, but it will work just fine for what we're doing. I'm just using a straight edge and cutting down the plywood to the size that is appropriate for my space. So I cut it down to size, making sure it would fit in that small space between my back door and my window, and then I took some old scrap wood and cut down some shelves with just a jigsaw. Now I'm taking a hole saw, or I wasn't originally, but I end up using a hole saw in addition to this little saw, and I am taping out my lines so that where those lines intersect, I will be drilling holes for the pegs. So I did all the math for this ahead of time, made sure that it was going to give me the design, or that it would accommodate the design I wanted, and then I just got right to taping it. This tape isn't so great and I would not recommend it. It just made it more difficult for me, honestly. And I'm using a scrap piece of drywall to prevent myself from going through my new rug. Once all the holes are in place, I decided to paint this bad boy black because there's lots of light colors in this room, but nothing to really give an anchor. So I'm going to paint this board black, and this is what she's looking like. I'm leaving the holes natural as well as the pegs. So today is the last day of this office makeover. I have a bunch of like small tasks to finish, mostly cleaning up if I'm being honest, but we definitely need to get this pegboard up on the wall, and then we can start putting on the finishing touches and a few other things. So I solicited the assistance of hubby to help me put this up on the wall. There's only one stud where we need to sit this, so we're gonna go into that stud twice, and I'm just marking where those studs are. Like I said, we can only go through one of them, but that is enough to secure this. Once the pegboard is secured, I go in with my dowels and cut them down to make pegs. So now that the pegboard is finally up, I want to start styling it and kind of arranging all of the mini crafting things that I have. So I'm going to show you the big mess of crafting crap that is on the floor, and then my I think I gave you guys a preview of it, but like my little basic drawing of what I want what I think I want the pegboard to look like. But let me show you what we're working with. So these are my random crafting supplies. These are the pegboard pegs and shelves. But I mean, I've got paint, I've got my boho wall art coloring book that I made. It is for sale on Amazon. If any of you are interested, I will put the link down below. I've got markers, easels, you name it, it's probably in that box. Now mind you, there is still crafting stuff boxed up in the closet here, and there's some crafting stuff that's already in these bins that we've put out here, and I do have this bin to work with as well. So everything doesn't have to end up on the wall, but I would like to put as much on the pegboard as I can, because the more that's accessible out here, the better, in my opinion. Like, going through crates and boxes all the time looking for supplies is really annoying, and all I do is just make this mess all over again. So let's start working on making the pegboard pretty and functional. Keyword functional. I have a bunch of these rose gold frames and some black frames that I want to use in the room. I think they go really well with the carpet and with the theme, but I haven't chosen the photos that will go in them. They're all 8x10s. The black frames I have are 11x18, I think. So I'm just going to do a really small little accent up here on the wall with these, and then this photo of me and my husband, sorry it's upside down, and this funeral center piece from my uncle's funeral are gonna go somewhere in this area. I feel like they look really good together, so I'll find a spot for them here. And then I think we're done. Oh, I lied. Just like when I said we weren't painting. So it's real fall in Georgia. I had to bring in my plants. My succulents are here. So I'm gonna store them somewhere in this room. They came from my patio. If you haven't seen that patio makeover, I will link it up in the cards for you. But I think I'm gonna put one on this area here and move this little one over onto the pegboard. And then I've got a macrame hanging plant holder right there that I think I'll put one in also. And then I think we'll be done. I know this looks a little wimpy, so I just wanted to show y'all, like, can you imagine what it's gonna look like when there's something else here or here and then another picture here? Like, it's gonna come together. I'm not rushing myself to do it all at one time. Now it's for those finishing touches that really bring the space together. Just placing those last few pictures, some candles, and let me remind you what this space looked like before. Bland, not fully used, and this is the space after. I really love this office space. I love the way that this design turned out with a few simple changes and very little paint. It really is an inspiring space that keeps me motivated and helps me to get through my workday, but also in those moments when I want to do a craft or something that feeds my soul, I have that space for it. I really hope you guys are enjoying these makeovers. I have many more to come, so make sure you're subscribed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.